Welcome. On today's episode of Welcome to the Winner Circle, I interview Carl J. Berryman, a personal trainer and health and wellness coach, also a fitness trainer with nearly 2 decades of experience. Currently leading others out of Yoga Public in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He's also an author and a podcast host. Fitness with a philosophy rooted in a belief that fitness is much more about resilience, mental resilience, as it is about physical strength. He's helping others become stronger, healthier, happier humans by taking what works inside the gym and applying it outside the gym. He's also the author of this fitness manual, Fit But Still Fucked, as well as the Fit But Still Fucked training cards, which are available here at Yoga Public and soon to be online.
Yep.
Welcome to the Winner Circle, Carl J. Berryman.
Thanks a lot, Derek. Appreciate it, man. Super looking forward to this.
Yeah, me as well. I was just back at Yoga Public 2.0, the new variation,
That's
and
nice.
got to celebrate your 500th class.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, and it was amazing just to see how well you've been doing since I last seen you. I came here when it was just the original Yoga Public 1.0, I guess.
Yeah.
Unofficially 1.0. And you're leading some awesome classes that I really enjoyed when I was here taking them. And then to see the evolution of those classes and also the evolution of you as a coach, as a wellness ambassador. Just excited to talk to you about your journey, your story here. And I feel when we share our stories, we can help others. And that's the goal of these conversations, to really uplift, inspire, and empower others just to move forward with greater faith and belief in themselves on their personal journeys, their hero's journey per se. So,
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm excited, buddy. And it's also nice that, it's funny you mentioned that because you saw me before at Yoga Public 1.0 and things have dramatically changed for how I go about coaching and training in Yoga Public 2.0. So it's pretty cool that you got to experience both.
Yeah, let's get into that. So let's just get right into that, since that's the topic at hand. Like, who were you as a coach before Yoga Public 1.0 and now? And when, for the people giving them context, like, when was Yoga Public?
So Yoga Public 1.0, I started 2016. And then when COVID hit is when it shut down. And then we were shut down for, I guess it was kind of like a Michael Jordan hiatus from the Bulls, where it was like 18 months. And then he came back to the Bulls. And anyways, we reopened, and now it's Yoga Public 2.0. We've been reopened for just over a year now, over a year. So yeah, it's been amazing being back, but very, very different for sure.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about how that affected you. You were coaching, and then the pandemic happening, and this when this podcast was created, and then your whole world was thrown a spin. So I think that's a good starting point to let's talk about what happened there with you.
Well, with me, I think the biggest thing I took away from that is I realized, because Yoga Public shutting down was kind of a surprise. I remember we had a staff meeting, and then the owner was like, "Sorry guys, we've got to close this down. I can't keep going like this." And that was a huge shock. I wasn't expecting that. So all of a sudden things are closed and gyms are closed. But other than obviously like struggling through that as a trainer, like most trainers would, because now the gyms are closed, I realized that I had so many opportunities here that I never capitalized on. And the biggest regret I had was I knew I had so much more to offer and different things to offer and talk about during training that I never did, because I was doing things in my life, like using this training manual myself for years now. And it made such a huge difference in my life that I wanted to share it with others, but I just never had the balls to do it.
Okay.
So during classes, like, I would kind of hint on it every once in a while, and then I'd get away from it. Yeah. Whereas when we open now, I'm like, okay, you've been given a second chance, which rarely happens. Yeah. So we're going all out with the idea of taking what works inside the gym and applying it outside the gym.
Yeah.
So,
and you never know if and when you get that second chance. So I think that's just a reminder to us all, is to just really savor the things we're doing in the now, because that's all that's guaranteed. All that's guaranteed is the now, and in the now, try to make the most of it as your highest self, and to really make a change for yourself and for others.
Yeah.
And you didn't know this second chance was going to happen. I remember at your 500th class, you kind of told a bit of a story about how this second chance came to be. Yeah. And so you got an email, and the email said, "Oh, like we're gonna be opening up Yoga Public again. Like, which classes are you interested in teaching?" And then you're like, "Oh wow, like I didn't expect this." And then you started looking down the list, and there's no fitness. It was
No.
just all yoga, meditation,
Yeah.
and so yeah, take it from
Yeah,
there.
that was interesting because I was so happy about Yoga Public opening, and obviously they reached back out to all the instructors that were here before. And when there was no fitness on the list, I just thought maybe that was a mistake. And then when I talked to the owner and the program director, and I said, well, we're probably not going to be bringing fitness back because we don't know if the demand is there. But people had, other people, like old members, had found out that Yoga Public was opening again. A bunch of them reached out to me to find out, like, am I going to be teaching? And so I let them know, I think there's going to be demand here.
Yeah.
So luckily, they agreed to bring it back. And it's been a good decision because fitness has been steadily growing ever since. It's pretty crazy. We were expecting a bit of a lull in the summer. The summer just kept getting busier and busier too.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty incredible, especially think about the fact that fitness almost didn't happen here again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing right now if they hadn't brought this back. So I'd be struggling, that's for sure.
Well, and when it first opened too, I think I remember you saying like the first class had one person.
Yeah, yeah.
Super stoked.
The very first class, it was one guy, and I was like, interesting, because I was expecting it to be like back in the day when we'd have 20 plus people, but no, it was one, and then one turns into three, and then three is into six. And for example, today is typical day at lunch where we have 18 people. So yeah, it's grown good. The members here are amazing.
And like, what strategies have you learned through your time as a coach and just as a human to kind of deal with that uncertainty, because life is uncertain? And so, what lessons have you learned about uncertainty, and how do you cope with it now versus before?
That's a really good question. And so every single morning, I have a very elaborate morning routine, and part of that morning routine, there's certain mantras that I remind myself of that I have written down. And one of them is uncertainty is a gift because you get to choose what's inside.
Okay.
And so that reminds me all the time. At the same time, uncertainty is it's something that I've learned no matter what, I'm going to have to live with. Like, it's super uncomfortable, but it's no different than working out. Like, anybody who's been working out for any amount of time knows that really you can take it easy during workout, but really there's no easy workout. Like, the pain, it's not going to get easier. Like, you're going to get stronger, you're going to lift more weight, you're going to do more reps, you'll do more time, whatever.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't get any easier. You just have to accept that. So same thing with uncertainty. Like, uncertainty is always going to be there if you're challenging yourself anyways.
Yeah, and I feel like in the gym, also on the yoga mats, it's opportunities to step into that uncertainty, to that zone of discomfort, that challenge, and find peace, acceptance, stillness in there. So I think that's a commonality between like my background as a yoga teacher and yours as a fitness coach is intentionally stepping outside our comfort zone.
Yep.
So that we learn to deal with adversity and challenge in an exercise room or on a yoga mat, so that we could take these skill sets in the world. And that's what's most important to apply.
Yes, absolutely. And I like the word uncertainty there, because one of the things, and I'm actually going to steal that and use it, because one of the things, for example, was it 2 days ago? No, it was yesterday during one of my classes. I always recommend people, if they're trying to push their limits, to try something that's questionable. So by questionable, I mean like you're not sure if you can do it. Like you're starting to get those butterflies, like kind of like a box jump where it gets to a certain height, and when you just kind of stand next to, you're like, I don't know if I can do this. So it's questionable. But I'm going to start using the word uncertainty, because uncertainty is definitely a lot more familiar and applicable outside of the gym. So just getting yourself to a point where you are uncertain, but then realizing that A, there's nothing wrong with that, and then B, that's kind of where all the growth is going to happen anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's also just not to dive though into uncertainty with just like no care.
Right.
It's like
I've done that.
Learning the foundations of the exercise physiology when we're looking at this in an exercise way, or like learning the foundations of movement, on how to do things safely, so that you can take those risks,
Yeah.
so that you can, yeah,
Yeah.
thrive and thrive, learn to step in to the uncertainty. But you're preparing yourself. You're preparing yourself with a rich foundation, um, built on, yeah, all the things you learn in the room:
Yeah.
breath, movement, um, stacking the joints optimally in space, like proper technique.
Yeah.
So the foundation is so important. What are your foundations, to step into your optimal self every day? You mentioned you have a morning routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into that, and then yeah, like just what are the foundational elements of the man you are?
So the foundational elements, pretty simple, are all like based in the training manual.
Yeah,
And for me, it's four things. And it's an acronym that just, ironically enough, spells out REP,
yeah,
REPP. So
yeah.
relationship health and fitness, emotional health and fitness, purpose health and fitness, and physical health and fitness. So that's the foundation there. And then every single day and every single week, having specific exercises, sets, reps that I do for each one of those,
Mm-hmm.
um, just to make sure, like as you said, like just trying to be as optimally myself as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Does it always work out that way? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Is there trajectory going in the right direction? Yes, and that's one of the things I've learned to be more concerned about is, and this is 100% from James Clear, and it's one of the cards actually to focus on your trajectory instead of your results. Um, so am I headed in the right direction? And as long as I'm checking those boxes more often than not
yeah,
on a daily and weekly basis, then I feel like it's pretty good to go.
yeah. And I feel also being okay with the misses and the failures per se,
Yeah.
because if we're stepping into uncertainty, that's inevitable.
Yeah,
So it
absolutely.
can't
Yeah.
always just be success, success, success,
Yeah.
win, win, win. Otherwise, we're not pushing ourselves or challenging ourselves,
Yeah.
to the capacity we can. I
Yeah.
feel.
And it's hard to recognize that though in the moment.
Yeah,
Like for me anyways, because I'll shit all over myself for being for failing
yeah,
and stuff like that. And just yeah, it can be pretty hard sometimes to remember that this is part of the journey.
yeah. And to honor it,
To honor it
and to
exactly.
be with it too. Be like, be with that sadness or that frustration, but you don't have to stay there.
No, no, and that's the key. Yeah, just get what you need and then get out of there.
Yeah, well, before we sat down and hit record, we are just kind of talking about how things were with you, and like you were in a bit of a setback
Oh
last week.
yeah, well last week was yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, so like I think these are super important, to kind of talk about, because your clients and just onlookers just see you as a very like cheerful, optimistic, positive. Like it just seems like, oh, everything's going well for Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, like I wish I had a body like that. I wish I had a personality. I wish I was confident like that. I wish I was going like that. They see all like the good stuff,
Yeah.
and it's important, I feel, to have these conversations where we show where we also struggle and we step into darkness, to help normalize it for others and to help show them there's always a way out and it's also inevitable.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's kind of trace us back, like how your last few weeks, your last week was difficult, but then the history of your battle with those kinds of things.
Yeah, well, yeah, last week it was interesting because normally like actually this is pretty ironic. Right now I'm just getting over like an inner thigh injury.
Yeah,
And I'm going to Cairo and I went to physio as well and they asked me what the origin of it was and I'm like I don't remember a specific thing. It's no different it's different than say for example, I've got lower back issues and just right now it's flared up too.
yeah,
I can typically put it back to like I'm doing a deadlift and then it's like, oh, yeah, okay, so last Tuesday when I was doing deads I screwed up my back. Emotionally last week there wasn't a specific trigger, just like my inner thigh. Like I don't remember anything specific happening, but just all of a sudden I felt like total garbage out of nowhere.
uh-huh,
And then it just completely took me over to the point where I had to cancel my classes. I wasn't leaving the house. I was canceling on friends. I canceled plans with friends. I canceled conversations. And it's just, I just sit there and it's super hard to do even the littlest things, like thinking about letting the dog out and feeding the dog. I canceled chiro appointments because just those things produce, I shouldn't say they produce a ton of anxiety, the way that I think about them in the moment generates that overwhelming feeling of stress and anxiety. And then since I can't do those little things, one of the things I say to myself a lot is, why is everything so easy for everybody else and so hard for me? And then that just, you got to be careful what you ask your brain, because it's always going to come up with an answer, right? So not a very empowering question, but I got answers to that. And then that just spirals you down and down and down and down and down. So yeah, that's about a once a year thing where it gets that bad. Typically it happens multiple times a week, but it's either for a couple hours or at most half a day, where I'll get into those zones where, like, even this morning I woke up, something triggered me. I had a client at 7:30. I was like, I can't do this. And then I was going to get my phone and cancel with him. I was like, I got the podcast interview with Derek. I'm like, I'm going to have to tell him we're going to have to reschedule, because I don't feel good right now. And I started feeling anxious and like panicked about it. But then I was like, just went to some of my go-to in the moment routines, whether it's like just breathing practices or from the book Radical Acceptance. She has a nice practice with an acronym called RAIN, and it's just 4 steps you take to kind of like bring yourself back into present moment, and then provide compassion to yourself about how you're feeling, so it doesn't take you off a cliff. So yeah, it's definitely a daily and weekly battle. Just sometimes you lose the battle. Like last week, I just lost the battle over and over again until finally it was time to get out of it.
And so what's the best way to support, like, so I think maybe people listening might recognize, oh, like my friend does this, or my partner does this, or I do this. Like, what are ways to support someone that's going through this? And yeah, like, start there.
I'll speak on my behalf. So this isn't for everybody, but I do know that it is common. Don't try to cheer me up. If I'm in one of those moods, I don't want you saying, oh, look on the bright side. I don't want you telling me to do a gratitude practice. I don't want to hear any of that. Because I'm already beating myself up for not being able to do that stuff as it is. So you telling me and trying to get me to do it, and then me not doing it, is going to make it way worse. Another thing, funny story. So I shared this story with the class last week. And then after the class, one of the members came up to me and said, so Carl, like, how are you doing? And so I was kind of taken aback. It was super thoughtful of her. And so I shared with her how I was doing. And then the very next day, I could tell she'd been thinking about it all night, because she came in and she apologized for asking that question. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I thought it was very brave of you and thoughtful. She's like, no, I also have family members that deal with depression. And anytime I ask them how you're doing, it's the last thing they want to hear. So that kind of is it, because when you go, how are you doing? Now you're just reminding me or getting me to think about how crappy I feel. And so I don't want to think about that. So really the best thing that anybody can do is just hold space. Just hold space. That's it. Just be with the individual and validate the way that they feel. Like, you don't have to add to it, but if one of the things that some of my friends do when I'm in this situation is we get together and it's like, you know what, I'm just feeling horrible right now. They're like, that's fine. We'll still go out for drinks. You don't have to talk or anything. We'll just be there and hang out. We don't even have to say a word if you don't want. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. So they're not trying to cheer me up. They're just they're doing something that's one of my favorite quotes of all time that I learned from a coach named Sam Falsafi from Wake Up Warrior. He said, pain shared is pain divided. So just being with somebody who's willing to hold space and share your pain is enough. No words necessary, no trying to cheer me up necessary. Just hold space and help me feel like less of a failure than I do.
That's great advice. Sometimes you may not even be allowing people in to hold space for you, though. So then, like, how do you get in? Like, how do you differentiate that?
For me, that's got to be patience on the other person's thing, because, like, when I get into my zones, it's like, just leave me alone. Like, I want, it's so funny because I want to be left alone, but I don't want to be alone. I want to be left alone, or I want help, but I don't want to have to ask for the help. So it's like, yes, I'm here and I'm isolating, but at the same time, I just want somebody to come and, like, even just give me a hug, like, without saying anything. I don't have it in me. I don't have the courage, and I'm not brave enough in those moments to ask for it. But it is desperately what I want. And it's the worse I get, the more I need help and love and compassion from other people,
Yeah.
the more I'm likely to put up barriers so that it doesn't come in.
Uh-huh.
So what can another person do there? Be patient and just ask. Like some of my best friends and partners have always been like, do you want to be left alone or do you want me to keep you company right now? And that's
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
If I want to be left alone, I say, yeah, I'd like to be left alone. It's like, you know what? I'd really like some company right now.
Uh-huh.
And that's it. So just ask.
Communication.
Exactly. Yeah.
Communication is
It's that
key.
simple. Yeah.
Mm.
Don't assume. Don't assume what the other person needs. Just, yeah, ask because everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to be different.
So one tool that you've created for yourself personally to help deal with these there's different emotions is this manual, right?
Yes,
So
this has literally saved my life. Like literally saved my life in terms of times where there's been two occasions in my life where I've really contemplated suicide
uh-huh.
and had to, like, one was back in 2020 when I was in the shower and I was shaving my head and I just looked at my wrist and I just thought, what if? And I just had to get out of the shower to like get out of that environment. And then another one was probably 2023, I think, not that long ago, where I was walking over the not Provencher Bridge, the one going into St. Boniface from like St. Mary's, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I was right near the edge of it, and like I literally had to go walk on the street because the pull to like go jump over the bridge was it was overwhelming, and I just had to get across the bridge, so I was literally walking on the street where traffic was. So sorry, what was the original question? I'm kind of rambling.
No, about the manual.
Oh yeah, the manual. Okay, so how it's literally saved my life. Okay, so in those situations, inside of here is something I've coined the mental muscle up. So it's just a journaling experience that's 5 questions that is designed to take you from inspiration to implementation. So just one small, specific, simple step. So the first question inside of that is, what is your situation? And that's where you're just writing out exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
And then from there, there's 4 other questions that help you identify not just what the problem is for you or what the challenge is, but where the opportunity lies as well to grow from that. So it's like a mental workout is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I do this. I make sure I do it at least 4 times a week to get in each area of the rep work, but I'll usually do it more than that.
So let's delve into the process. So the first is you write down the situation.
Yeah. So question number 1 is, what is your situation? And then the next questions can it's just like a circuit where, say the other day when we were doing the 500, class 500, right? Not everybody was doing the exercises in the same order, right? Like where you started was exercise number 1 for you, but that might have been exercise number 5 for somebody else.
Yeah.
Same thing with the questions. Writing down your situation is super important so you can identify what the problem is. Question number 3 is actually the one that I usually go to next, and that is, what is your transformation?
Okay.
And you just write down 4 things that you don't want and 4 things that you do want, which are just the opposite, because our minds and us as human beings are really good at identifying what we don't want.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it about that situation? So say, for example, this morning, I wrote a situation about getting triggered in my relationship, and it's caused distance in the relationship. And so what I did is I wrote down 4 things I don't want. I don't want to distance myself from my partner. I don't want to shut down in the midst of my pain body. I don't. And so, okay, now I know 4 things I don't. What's the opposite of that?
Yeah.
And then I write that. Now from there, I typically go back to question number 2, which is, what is your notable quotable?
Okay.
And the notable quotable is where I'll just go to either the cards or a book that I think is really good for that specific area of the rep work. So today was a superset. I did relationship health and fitness and emotional health and fitness. So I went to Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now.
Yeah.
And I got 2 quotes from there.
Okay.
And then I use those. It's like, oh, okay, those are kind of like helping me remember truths that I forgot.
Yeah.
The 4th question is what I would say is debatably one of the most important, is, what is your inspiration? And this is where you just tap into your inner voice and you're writing out what comes to you as a potential solution based on your situation, the notable quotable, and the transformation.
Yeah.
And then finally, after you write all that stuff out and you get that, you tap into that inner voice, the last question is, what is your implementation? So you come up with one small, specific, and simple step to take in the next 24 hours based on all that, so that you can start taking steps towards either alleviating the challenge that you're facing or capitalizing on something that went well.
Yeah, making some process in that direction.
Yeah.
And so what's the importance of writing it versus just thinking it?
Because if you think it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Like I've thought about solutions all the time, and that's why I created this, because I've been a hardcore self-help junkie for a couple decades now.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'd read the books, and you read a book, you're like, oh, that quote is so good. It's awesome. I'm inspired. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
So what this allowed me to do is take the quotes that inspire me and figured, okay, not only what am I going to do, but in which area of the rep work am I going to do it? What's the small, specific, and simple step I'm going to take in the next 24 hours? And how do I measure progress in that area?
Yeah.
So it's just making sure that things get taken action on, because this is like, for me before, what I would do is I'd listen to podcasts, read books, and get super jacked up, but I wouldn't do anything. And the analogy I always make is like, imagine coming to the 500th class.
Yeah.
And I demo all the exercises. I say 3, 2, 1, go, and everybody doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
They just stand there. They're all jacked up. They're like, yeah, this workout looks great. This workout looks great.
Yeah.
And then they don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing all the time when I'd read books or listen to podcasts.
So, thank you. So what like made you realize, okay, I have to change? Like, what was the what made that click in?
December 4th, 2020.
Okay, what happened?
That's when it happened. That was right after that first suicide thought. Shouldn't put it in quotations. Like, that was the first time. But what happened there was I broke up with my partner at the time, because we realized that we were roommates. Like, we weren't romantic partners at all. We'd been roommates for a while, and I realized my relationship was pretty bad. Also, that day, it was really funny. I decided, okay, like 2021 is going to be the year where I totally transform my body. I wasn't in horrible shape, but I didn't look the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I took a before picture. So like shirt off in the bathroom, take a picture. And I look at it, and then I realized when I scrolled back, I had a picture from, December 4th, 2019, where I had made the same promise to myself. And my body looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
So here I am an entire year later, having committed to transforming my body.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I was fooling myself. So for whatever reason, a voice from somewhere just said to me, Carl, if you're fooling yourself with your body, where else are you fooling yourself? And then I realized it was everywhere. Like my relationship with my friends and my family, mentally and emotionally, I was completely delusional. I was personal training at the time, and I was living my purpose and my passion, whatever, and I was miserable. So that was when I decided, okay, well, first things first, I'm going to transform my body. I'm just going to really get dialed into my nutrition and my fitness and make sure I'm following principles to transform my body. And then 63 days later, dramatic change, like just night and day. And then right after that, I'm like, okay, well, what happens if I apply the same principles outside the gym? And then that was it. So I knew with my body, I wasn't getting where I thought I was because I wasn't tracking my workouts.
Yeah.
I wasn't providing or applying principles like progressive overload and all those other things. So I just started doing that everywhere based on 3 really important criteria. I wanted to know what I was measuring. So what does progress look like?
Yeah.
I wanted to know how to manage the obstacles that I knew were going to get in my way. So if I have a busy week and I don't have time for food prep, okay, I need to know in advance where I'm going to be eating out so I can still hit my nutritional goals.
Yeah.
And then tracking. How am I going to track this stuff so that I can see if I'm making progress? So I started doing that everywhere. And I came up with a workout program for my relationships, for my mental and emotional health, and for my sense of purpose with workouts, reps, and sets. And that was it. I've been doing that ever since.
And then once you hit like a bump in the road, like a challenge or a unchosen uncertainty, something that just kind of happens that catch you off guard, how did you catch yourself? What safeguards did you have in place? I guess the manual was
the manual for sure, because that brings one of the things that this does is it brings clarity to the situation, because when you're getting things, it's one thing to think about things because you can just get mangled up with the voice in your head, and
Yeah.
it can be so confusing. Getting things down on paper will bring clarity to it.
Yeah.
And it makes you stop and pause. So that's good. But in terms of getting over them, again, just thinking about what would I do in the gym? Like if I were injured in the gym, say for example, like right now, actually felt pretty good. I went to Cairo this morning. My back's a little bothering me right now, but I did barbell squats today for the first time in I don't know how long, and it felt pretty good.
Yeah.
But over the past little while, I've had to avoid doing squats because my back was injured. I'm not going to get super mad at myself for being physically injured, so I
Yeah.
just know I need to give certain things a break. No different emotionally. If I'm emotionally injured, I know I've got to give certain things a break, and there's certain things that I just won't be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I treat it in the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same way. So whatever I would do in the gym to overcome that obstacle, how does that relate to outside the gym? And the answers are always super simple.
Yeah.
Super simple. Not easy, but
Yeah.
simple.
Okay. Okay. Let's kind of rewind the tape a little bit. Like you said, you've been into health and development, for a long time now,
Yeah.
decades. When did that interest like awaken,
I
and why?
remember that super specifically too. I was a manager at Earl's at the time.
Okay.
Like hospitality was my first kind of like life.
Okay.
Um, and there was a guy who would come in with his girlfriend. He was at the time I was like, yeah, I think I was 20 years old.
Okay.
And he was in his at the time, I guess, in mid 30s, and very eccentric guy, like really eccentric. She would eat, but he was on a raw organic diet, so he
Okay.
would just like he'd come in and have water, but he would put her food in his mouth, but then spit it out. He'd just do the taste, but he couldn't eat it, right?
That's interesting.
Super eccentric guy. But then one day, his girlfriend goes to the bathroom and he just looks at me. He's like, "Carl, you are so much bigger than this place." And I didn't know what to think of that. It was kind of weird, but the way that he said it, like it hit me.
Yeah.
It hit me and it awakened something. And so he gave me a book to read, and I never read books. Like even in school, I didn't read books. Like
Yeah.
whatever, I'll cheat any way I can. But he gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay. Yeah.
And
By
so
Robert.
yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
So I read that from front to back in one day, and then from there, boom, he just started introducing me to a whole bunch of different books, and then people started coming into my life that would introduce me to other books, like a guy that used to teach here, Arlen.
Yeah.
Uh, introduced me to the books Conversations with God,
Yeah.
and I read those and just really started going down a rabbit hole of um, what are we here to do? What is human potential? Finding your purpose and living that, just finding a cause bigger than yourself. And um, yeah, it's been like a solid 25-year journey.
Mm-hmm. From all that learning over 25 years, what were like the key messages and takeaways that you think are most important to you right now?
Um, I love quotes.
Yeah.
So I'll sum them up in quotes. One is from Conversations with God,
Yeah.
and this is kind of the way that I view my purpose now, to inspire the dreams of humanity through the living of your own. What a
Mm-hmm.
magnificent idea.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey has a really good quote that he gave when he was doing a speech at wherever he went to university. And he says, "The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is." And so that's one that has definitely stuck with me. One of the quotes that I have tattooed on my ribs here is, "The power of man's virtue should not be measured by his special effort, but by his ordinary doings." So just remembering, and this reminds me of another quote by Robert Brault, who said, "Enjoy the little things, for one day you will look back and realize they were the big things."
Uh-huh.
So kind of those four combined,
Yeah.
I would say are kind of the pillars of the biggest, while there's countless other ones I've learned, those are kind of the ones.
Mm.
Oh, but actually I have to throw this one in here because I
Okay.
wrote it down this morning.
Okay.
From Conversations with God as well. You asked, like, what do I do sometimes to get myself out of those situations? The ultimate question to ask, for me
Yeah.
anyways, is what would love do now?
Mm.
What would love do now? So if love were acting on my behalf, what it would do now? If I'm having an argument with my partner, what would love do now? If I don't want to get up and go to the podcast with Derek or train my client, what would love do now? If I don't feel like training my classes, what would love do now? If I feel like crap and I'm beating myself up so hard, what would love do now? Actually, now that I say that, that's got to be the next tattoo.
What
Yeah.
would that love do now?
Yeah, what would love do now?
So, what is love? That's a question that I'm curious. It's unique to everyone, and it can
Yeah.
only be explained in words so much. I feel it's like words can't do it justice. What love is, it's a feeling, it's a truth, it's a knowing, it's an embodiment.
Mhm.
Yeah, words can't describe it best for me. But what
Yeah.
doing your best? How would you explain what you understand love to be, so that we could ask ourselves, what would love do now? First, we need to define what is love.
I think you put it best when you said you can't really put it into words, but more so for me, what comes up is it's a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I ask myself, what would love do now? And then I come up with an action, I'm going to go inside and see how I feel about taking said action.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in a depressed mood and it's like, what would love do now? Well, you know what? I'm just going to do what I normally do and lie on the couch and seclude and just binge on like Blacklist or Suits or something
Mm-hmm.
on Netflix. Well, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So I can probably trust that that's not what love would do now.
Yeah.
At the same time, there has been times where that's what love would do because I've asked myself that. It's been like, you know what? It actually feels pretty genuine and right for me to binge on Netflix right now.
Yeah. Just
So
take a pause.
that's the answer. So yeah, just asking that question, coming up with the action, but then, like you said, like going into that feeling place. Um, and then love can become a habit as well, right? Because
Uh-huh.
once you've established, okay, this is what love would do now, and I have these certain patterns, ones that either take me more towards a disempowered state, ones that take me more towards an empowered state. It's like, okay, I know the ones that I know what the answer to what would love do now is, and therefore defining what love is
Yeah.
um, in advance, and therefore can take it now. But that's a
Mm-hmm.
great question to ask, like, what is love? Because it's no different than, okay, well, I want to be healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what
What's
does
that look
that mean?
like?
What does that mean? And for me, I need things to be so tangible
Yeah.
so I know my actions that represent it. Okay, well, what does being healthy look like? Okay, well, I know what it looks like for me from a statistical standpoint, but what does that look like from a behavioral standpoint? I know if I'm getting to the gym and training at least 4 times a week, I'm good. I know if I'm hitting my nutritional target 4 out of 7 days a week or more, I'm good. So I have those metrics. So same thing with loving relationship. Okay, am I having a tough conversation once a week? Okay, yes. Am I connecting with 4 brothers at least every week? Yes. Am I doing something exciting for myself twice a week? Like that's what love would do.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've defined it for myself just to make it less work.
Mm-hmm. Well, you put systems in place because,
Yeah.
um, from your experience, that's what works best for you.
For me,
Having
yes,
something on
exactly.
paper, having something tangible,
Yeah.
that can be counted. It's important.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're working at Earl's. You meet this eccentric guy.
Yeah.
He challenges you to read a book. That rabbit hole just unravels into 25 years of just deep diving into optimization and health and wellness. When did the trainer part come into play? Like, how did that vision materialize?
That was actually July 2nd, 1999, because that was when my dad passed away in his sleep as a result of a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And that was ridiculous. Like I just remember at the time I was working at Earl's and he was at home on disability because he had lupus. And so living in the house at the time were me, my mom, my dad, and my older sister. And so my older sister's gone and somewhere. My mom's gone to work, dad's at home. I hear the phone ringing, I get up and it's my mom calling and I'm like, oh man, I gotta get to work. It's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. I start at 10. And she says, can you go get your dad? So I go into the room and I look and he's in bed. I'm like, sorry, he's sleeping. Can you call back later? She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I get to work and then I get in and the manager's like, Carl, you need to call home like right
Uh,
now. I'm like, okay. So I call home and somebody answers the phone. I don't know who it is. It's not my sister. It's not one of my brothers who were moved out. It's not my mom or my dad. Some guy saying, Carl, you need to come home right now. So speed home and my dad was in the exact same position as when I left. Cause
uh,
like when I went to go get him, he wasn't sleeping. He was dead.
yeah.
And so that moment after that really brought to life just how short life can be. Like he was 69. And so, no, that's wrong. He was 66. Um, it made me realize just how important our health is too. So from then, I kind of started developing this little health kick. And the initial goal with what I did as a trainer was to help people improve the quality of their lives by improving the quality of their health.
Yeah.
But for so long, just focusing on the physical aspect, I realized wasn't, I wasn't answering my calling, and B, I wasn't really doing a service to people, because with one-on-one training, one of the double-edged swords is you get to know people pretty intimately, which is
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
but you also get to realize that like everybody is struggling in ways that other people can't even, just like you said at the beginning, how people might view me.
Yeah.
Everybody has things that they're struggling with that nobody knows about. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was doing a disservice to get them feeling good for like an hour during the workout and then maybe an hour after the workout, but then I wasn't doing anything for the other 22 hours in their life every
Yeah.
single day.
Yeah.
So I needed to start working on that.
So one commonality amongst all these clients is everyone has something they're working through.
Yeah.
Beyond that commonality, is there another commonality that you see pretty consistent um, with the people you worked with over the years and now today?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody has a beautiful story.
Uh,
Everybody. Because it's so amazing. Like when I'm teaching the classes and like I get to know people pretty intimately. So if there's 18 people in today's class, I would say at least 5 to 8 I know really well.
yeah.
Another handful pretty well, and then the other ones maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But the ones I know really well, I just wish everybody else in the room knew what I knew.
Yeah.
Say, for example, I was training one woman one-on-one a few weeks, actually about a month and a bit ago. And I've been training her for a while, but when we get in a group setting, but then when we get one-on-one, she's telling me about how much she loves to travel and where she's been on all these hikes and marathons. And she shows me this Facebook post of these blogs she does on like, when you're traveling, these are the top 10 things to do, top 10 places to go and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating listening to her talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it totally like want to make me travel like a whole bunch of different places. So, and everybody's got some kind of story. And then the other good thing is I realize from me sharing in classes, a lot of people have been coming up to me and sharing their experience with depression, or maybe they have a sibling or a relative or a partner that deals with depression. So this is helping them understand those people better. So just understanding that, like we talked about, everybody has their own problems, but the thing that I've also learned is like getting to know people's stories is amazing, and everybody has one.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has one.
Mm-hmm. What's holding most people back, you feel?
Um, I imagine it's probably the same as me, and that's just the fear that you're the only one who experiences that. Like
Uh-huh.
literally every single day. Like so during the classes, I read out one of these cards at the beginning of class, and then we talk about it at the end. Every single day, I'm scared to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Every single class, and I hesitate. And there's some classes where I just don't have it in me to do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
rare now, but even today, when I was talking about it, like I get nervous, and I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody's gonna think this is stupid, but I've since learned that not everybody's gonna think it's stupid. If some
Yeah.
people do, that's fine. But this has now become more of a commitment I've just made to myself to work on self-expression
Mm-hmm.
over anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what holds us back, for sure, it's fear. It's just fear of what?
Yeah. Fear
And
of what? And
yeah, and it's
for
like Yoda said, named must your fear be before banish it you can.
yeah.
So getting to know what that fear actually is, like what are you afraid of, and then challenging it.
So what? So yeah, when you say like each time you pick a card and you read it to the class, like you're terrified or you're scared, there's resistance. Like I really appreciate your vulnerability and sharing that. Like I don't I can't I if you didn't say that I would have never have guessed
Yeah,
that
I
in a
know,
million
I
years.
know, I
And
know.
so it's like amazing to hear that. So yeah, what is that fear? How have you identified what that fear is, and how do you continually step in the arena against it?
So that's a really good question. Um, the fear, I really wish I had this quote down pat, but Marianne Williamson is the original author of the quote, but then Nelson Mandela used it in his speech.
Yeah.
Um, it's not our, and again, I'm paraphrasing, it's not our greatest fear that holds us back. It's our strengths.
Yeah.
Um, Something along those lines. So I'm realizing now that the fear I've identified is just fear of being my authentic self.
Uh-huh.
Because if I'm my authentic self and that gets rejected, that's the worst thing in the world. Like I've had it happen before.
Uh-huh.
Um, but that's what I'm really scared of. I'm just really scared of being like, this is who I am. And
Yeah.
then people being like, holy cow.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, I don't want any part of that. So that's what I'm scared of. And I've never experienced in the room. So I have no evidence to suggest that that's going to be the case. And yet that comes up. Like I'm sure we could go down a huge rabbit hole of where that could have stemmed from, like as a
Uh-huh.
child and stuff like that. And I've been to so many therapists and life coaches that I've identified what some of those
Uh-huh.
experiences are. Um, but yeah, that's what it boils down to is like if I share my authentic self and it gets rejected, I won't be able to handle that. So that getting into the arena is just getting in the reps of realizing that every single time I do this, I'm just building up evidence that that fear isn't real.
Yeah.
So, and like that acronym about fear, right? Like false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Um, so just challenging it every single time.
Yeah, and I think very important on this is like appreciating the process over the destination because I feel a lot of people are just like so concerned. Okay, like I just want to get to that place where I will never
Yeah.
have fear about reading that card. But I don't know if that ever comes. But by getting in the reps, it'll happen less, but
Yeah.
it will come up again. But on that process, on that journey, we're developing capacities where we could recognize that lion and recognize that lion as just a little kid and then just let it
Yeah.
little walk on away, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
Um, so to me, that's what I think winning is. These conversations are called "Welcome to the Winner Circle," and I think to me, winning is just fully embracing the present, embracing the process in the present with like surrender,
Mm-hmm.
humility, grace, and love, but a deep surrender as well, like a faith, a humble bowing to a power beyond me, um, orchestrating this journey for me. And just being in the process, not needing to control everything, surrendering to it.
Yeah.
What does winning mean to you?
That's a great question. Um, Context dependent and it depends on the day. So let me just say what would winning today look like and generally speaking for me. You mentioned presence.
Yeah.
Like presence is a huge one for me. If I can remain present as possible in the situation. In other words, right now during our conversation, like I'm very tuned into you, and yet you're holding an amazing space and energy, which is making it super easy. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, but just not letting my mind go to other things that I need to be doing, or even things like maybe talking negatively about myself, but just really remaining as present as possible. Getting out of my mind is part of that. So being the witness of my mind when something comes up, because I create triggers for myself all day, whether it's something my partner says, it could be something as simple as if I'm upstairs at the desk, somebody's coming from yoga and they walk out without saying bye. All my mind will go places and be like, oh my God, what did I do to offend them?
Yeah.
And then I take it personally. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like that person has a million and one things going on. Why are you making yourself the center of their universe? Like it's
Yeah.
insane. So I just winning is being able to witness that stuff that goes on for me from a non-judgmental and compassionate place. And then winning would really be then being able to laugh at that. Like
Mm-hmm.
just like a little kid who's, you know what, they're coming up on the playground and you're sitting on the bench, you're trying to, like, you as the parent are trying to be all like, you're having a good time and you want to relax, and the kid's like tugging it. It's like, can you just be nice and patient with them and loving and just understand that they need some attention right now, but then they'll go and play. And that's, if I can do that with my mind,
Yeah.
that's winning. And if I can answer the question, what would love do now, and
Yeah.
act in accordance with that
Yeah.
on a more regular basis, that would be winning. That would be winning.
Mm-hmm. A big piece of it for me is also forgiveness. Forgiving me when I don't do that, when I do not show up as my best, when I do
Yeah.
take things personally, when I do not hold myself accountable, just forgiving that myself. And by practicing forgiving myself, it helps me forgive others. Forgiving that person for not saying bye to me at the
Yeah.
desk, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Right.
Maybe they did that intentionally. They wanted to be vindictive, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, forgiving them for like having that vindictiveness in them and
Yeah.
recognizing that came from a wound from that someone gave to them,
Yeah.
and like everyone is just trying to do their best to just take care of themselves, and sometimes that comes with anger or the opposite of compassion,
Yeah.
ignorance. So yeah, forgiveness is a big piece of this puzzle for me. Self forgiveness and forgiving of others, and just understanding that they also had a story that led to where they are now,
Yeah.
and where they are now is just where they are now, and that's not of your. You can't control that.
Yeah.
The only thing you can control is how you react and how you show up in the now.
Yeah.
And in the now, we have the opportunity again and again and again for the times we didn't show up as we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, forgiveness. Yeah, forgiveness is such a huge one. It's funny, some of the stuff you've been mentioning, like there's a card in there that says forgiveness comes first.
Yeah.
And then there's a quote on that because forgiveness is huge. Like if I'm want to answer that question, what would love do now? And I need to start with having compassion for myself. Well, what's another word for compassion? And it's forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgiving yourself. Like, listen, I don't have my best today. It's no different than if I'm in the gym and it's like, you know what? Last week on the bench, I maxed out at this. And then this week I was a little bit less. Well, today I didn't have my best. That's cool.
Yeah, let
That's
it go.
cool.
Not like, oh,
Exactly.
I should have did better at that workout earlier, and
Yeah.
then you just keep that vibration rippling into your future
Yeah.
by focusing on the now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I try to choose to drop pebbles in the pond of now that have
Yes.
ripples that will radiate in my benefit forward versus not. And when I recognize I'm not, then it's just okay. Well, now you have the chance to drop new vibrational
Yep.
attunements. Uh,
Pebbles into the pond of now. I'm
yeah,
100% stealing that. Yeah, I'm stealing
it's
that for
not
sure.
it's not of me. It's from me, from who knows where. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's when we get really present, we tap into a truth and a knowing beyond ourselves. I
Yeah.
feel, in yoga they call it the Atman. Some authors call it the capital S self.
Yeah.
There's God. What have you learned about that thing? Um, yeah, like the Atman, God, the higher being. What has your journey been with that?
I call it the voice.
Okay.
The voice. Because I've got two. There's the voice and the block. And you can kind of think of them as like the devil and the angel on the shoulder, right? But backing up for a second, what you said about that, like being able to tap into that, that's winning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's why I love teaching so much, because when I teach, like, it's so easy to be present,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when the voice comes through.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's just, yeah, creating that space where all of a sudden inspiration that you know is not from your own mind, it's from completely somewhere else. It might be another dimension. Who knows what the source is, but it's something that's definitely more than just this brain and this mind.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to really capitalize with this in terms of dialing into that. Like that's what that fourth question is. What is your inspiration? That's where you're creating space for that voice, that source, God, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
to guide you through with the use of words on what you need in that moment that intellectually you probably won't be able to get yourself. So just opening up to that source, whatever that is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I found that like tapping into the voice, especially first thing in the morning, is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
So critical. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you tap into it personally?
Well, the morning routine is pretty simple. Like wake up, chug a glass of water, turn the water on for my coffee, go upstairs, meditate for 10 minutes, and then I have a playlist that I listen to while I'm sipping my coffee that just brings me into a very calm and focused state.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, right after I'm done my coffee, I go through my gratitude list. So all throughout the day, like today, as soon as we're done here, I'll go into my phone under the gratitude list and like fucking amazing podcast with Derek. Like, so grateful for him and so grateful we got to connect in this way and share this energy. And so I checked that off just as like to get me a good feeling and remind me of how many things I'm grateful for the day prior. And then after that, I have a song where what I do with the cards is I think about, okay, what do I need today? What do I need today? And then I'll shuffle through the cards, and then eventually one just kind of like pops out of the deck.
Yeah.
And then either that or I'll just kind of go like this and wait for it to feel right. And then it's like, boom. So that's the morning routine. Oh, and then I'll use that card for the MMU for those 5 questions to kind of help guide me through whatever I'm working on that day, whether it's relationships, emotional, purpose, or physical.
When I get quiet and listen to that source, that thing, that voice, I feel a common pull is to be of service, and that's something we've talked about earlier. It seems like everything you're doing is being of service in a way. And what does that mean to you, being of service, and how are you being like? What are your intentions with that? Giving now and moving forward for you?
I would say it goes back to that fundamental quote of inspiring the dreams of humanity through the living on my own.
Yeah.
I figure if people see the things that I'm doing and can relate to the pain that I'm going through as I'm doing them, and see that I have these fears when I'm doing it, see that I'm looking at my dreams and asking these questions, see like what can I bring to the world.
Yeah.
If I lead by example, then other people might to be like, oh, hey, like Carl struggles with this too, and he's managed to manage it, not necessarily overcome it, but manage it. Maybe I can try some of that too. So I think the way that I like to focus on serving others that feels really good to me is saying the things that people don't want to say but need to hear. So when I share my stories about depression and anxiety, and just like yesterday, for example, I went to yoga last night, and this is going to sound crazy, but the past couple of weeks, I just haven't felt like I've looked my best. Like anybody else looking at me wouldn't see anything different. I do.
Yeah.
I never wear a shirt in yoga. I wore a shirt yesterday because I was too self-conscious. I was too self-conscious to take it off. So when I share things like that with people, to be like, holy cow, like Carl's self-conscious too. Okay, maybe it's not so bad to be self-conscious. I want to serve others by realizing that we are all fit but still fucked.
Yeah.
So you're not the only one. So I really want to serve others by helping them feel not alone. That's it.
And we can't do that alone, and that's why it's in the importance of community, and that's why I feel you have created such a strong community here at Yoga Public 2.0 and in your classes. Why is community so important, and how does one cultivate community in their life if that's somewhere they feel they're lacking?
Community is important because like some people say you're the sum of whatever number of people that you surround yourself with, right? Whether it's the 5 people you spend the most time with. Like if you want to take a look at your future, take a look at the people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
But case in point, actually, this is a really good story. I had a client for about 10 years. We haven't trained together for years, but we were together for about 10 years, and it was always one-on-one. And then I always tried to get her to come to what at the time was what we called sweat training, was Strong Women Empowered Together, SWET.
Yeah.
And so because the women were just incredible. And I found that if I'm working one-on-one with somebody, sure, that's great. If I have a group of 20, the energy is amazing, but there's no like I can't coach 20 people at a time. I just can't. But like 4 to 6 was like beautiful, because there's like the motivation of the group and you get one-on-one training. So I'm trying to convince her to come. She's like, no. I'm like, man, I really don't want to train her one-on-one anymore because she's plateauing. I'm telling her that she can do stuff, but she doesn't believe me. She doesn't believe herself. I'm just like, I know if she came around here, she would see that she could.
Yeah.
So sure enough, she comes one time, and I remember we're doing the sled push upstairs, and there's a decent amount of weight on there, and this woman's in her 60s, and she's going right after somebody who's in their 20s.
Yeah.
And so she's about to go, and I'm about to take the weights off. She's like, no, you can leave them. I'm like, you think you can do this? She's like, I don't know, but I can try.
Yeah.
And that was it. As soon as she did that, The next day, she's like, Carl, don't take this personally, but I don't want to one-on-one train anymore. I want to train in the group.
Yeah.
Being a part of community gets you to see that other people struggle like you do, but it also gives you something to aspire to because you
Uh-huh.
see people doing things better than what you're currently doing at. And you see
Yeah.
that it's possible.
Yeah.
It's like in my classes, when I get students to demo exercises, the rest of the class is much more likely to try the difficult option.
Yeah.
Because when I show the difficult option, people are like, oh, it's Carl. He's the trainer. Of course he can do it.
Yeah.
I show another member who's working out alongside them and they demo it. All of a sudden, everybody tries it because you're around people that you're familiar with that you can relate to. And if you get around that, it'll both help make the lows not so low and the highs so much higher.
So how does one find community? Like if they're in Winnipeg, they come check you out at
Man.
Yoga Public.
Oh yeah, definitely come here if that's the vibe you're looking for.
Yeah, but
That's it. That's a really good question. I've actually thought about that for myself in terms of fitness because since I teach so much, I'm always working out on my own because typically classes anywhere in the city are going to be going on the same times that I teach, right?
yeah,
So I'm actually looking for a community right now. And I thought I'd found one, but then the vibe just wasn't there. So it's like anything. It's like, how do you find the diet that's right for you? Or how do you find the workout that's right for you? Well, you're going to try a bunch of different things and all of a
yeah,
sudden, boom, something will fit. So you just got to get around as many people as possible. Definitely talk to people that are like I would ask you, hey, Derek, do you know any cool workout communities that maybe have workouts available at this time that I could go check out? And you might know something, somebody might know something. So
yeah,
yeah, you just got to test things out. It can be tricky, but
yeah.
yeah,
Put yourself out there.
exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Um, for people listening, maybe they've been really inspired by something you said, and it inspires them to want to step outside their comfort zone. So that job at Earl's per se, when you're working as a server, like, and whatever this person is doing, to pursue like their passion. So your passion for coaching and wellness, but there's two voices. There's that voice of must, so that's like deep longing, the calling, the truth, the knowing in the heart. But then there's also the path, the voices of should. So those are things you've been told by your parents, society, the media, both subconsciously and consciously from all these people, um, that are keeping you in your safe world. And Stephen Pressfield, the author Stephen Pressfield, calls it resistance. It's
With a capital R.
that inner voice that keeps us in our comfort. Because when we take that leap and we pursue our must, our whole world is going to change.
Yep.
So yeah, what advice would you have someone, they've been inspired by something you said, to just really step outside their comfort zone, to pursue that path of must, whatever that is. Maybe it's go travel, maybe it's to take that certification to become a coach, maybe it's that in that relationship, and maybe it's to pursue your passion for knitting, who knows. What advice would you have for that person at that crossroads of should versus must, where they're feeling the pull, a longing in their heart, truth that's wanting to take them outside of where they are, but that voice of should, like, well, this is safe. You have a regular paycheck. You have familiarities. You know everyone here. You know what to do. This is easy. Yeah. What advice would you have for that person?
I've been there because before starting to go public, I was a supervisor at Canada Post for 10 years. So super safe, secure job. I loved it. I loved it. It was really good by the end. And then I just took the leap and completely quit without even really packing a parachute, which ended up being a very interesting and not something I would recommend doing.
Uh-huh.
But I think, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, actually, this is very fitting because I was going to say what you have to do is really, you got to get yourself to a point of pain where the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And so ironic. And this happens all the time. So principle number 22 is no pain, no gain. This is from Mark Manson in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah.
And he said, quote, who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. What pain do you want in your life? Because that seems to be a greater determinant of how our lives turn out. What determines your success isn't what do you want to enjoy. The relevant question is what pain do you want to sustain?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. Like, do you want to sustain the pain of being somewhere where you know that's not your calling? You know you're not giving your greatest gifts. You know you're not challenging yourself. You know you're not living a fulfilling life. Do you want to sustain that? If the answer is yes, then by all means go ahead. That's totally fine. If the answer is no, then it's like you got to realize whatever you're going after, there's going to be pain. Life is the ultimate workout, and
Uh-huh.
it's always going to be painful. So it's painful coming in and teaching classes when I don't want to. It's painful making the decision in the morning to show up for this and my client when all I want to do is shut down. It's painful going in front of the classes and keeping a commitment to myself to read the cards every day. It's painful, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like there's always going to be pain there. So the way that it's going to work, that I've learned anyways, is change is going to happen no matter what. Just is it going to happen by chance or by choice?
Uh-huh.
So if you wait for it to happen by chance,
Yeah.
typically speaking, that's going to be a very, very painful incident or circumstance, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas if you make it a choice and just initiate the pain yourself, as opposed to having pain come from external sources, um, that's probably it. But principle number one is stop fucking lying. And the quote on that one is, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.
Uh-huh.
So it's principle number one, because unless you're willing to stop lying to yourself, you're never going to get the truth of who you are.
Lying to yourself
About what you want, about who you are, about people not believing in you, about the things that are going to go wrong if you take this step. Like, sure, some things are going to go wrong,
yeah.
but I'd say more so lying about ourselves, about our limitations, and about how great we are, and how about our unique gifts can actually serve a purpose, and how whatever we want to pursue, we can actually do it. Like, we're lying to ourselves every single time we say, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, this training manual on the cards, those were ideas that I've been using and had for the past 7 years. And yet these things finally came to fruition within the last year, because I stopped lying to myself about, like, these can serve the world. They can serve a purpose because they've served mine. Why wouldn't they serve? But I'd lie to myself. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. I'm like, finally, fuck that. I'm doing this because I had to stop lying to myself and tell myself the truth that what I have to offer is of value to someone.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, getting over those lies.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that. So much wisdom and life lessons shared. I have two final questions
Okay.
that I ask everyone. And maybe it's already, you answered this one already, but you could access it again. So the first question: through all the highs and lows that has been your hero's journey, what has been the greatest life lesson you've learned on your path that you feel called in this moment this year? So just in this moment, what do you feel called to most share? Is just a very important lesson that you'd like to share with me, remind yourself, and also just gift everyone listening along.
I'm always going to use a quote from Eckhart Tolle.
Uh-huh.
Or I'll use a quote, but his came up to me right now. I don't know why, but that's what's being channeled.
Yeah.
Life isn't as serious as the mind makes it out to be.
Uh-huh.
That's something I have to remind myself of all the time. I'm like, okay, this isn't doing as well as I wanted to. My body's not the way it is. My relationship's having trouble. Like, whatever it is. And it's just like, I have a tendency to take everything so seriously.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you were to ask me what major problem I had on, what's today, October 31st, 2017, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
But if I had a major problem back then, I bet you at that time I thought it was the end of the world,
Yeah.
and that it was horrible.
Yeah.
And right now I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Same thing with all the problems I've had in the past week. Like, I'm not going to remember that in a month's time, because just life is not as serious as the mind makes it out to be.
Yeah.
Just have some fun.
Amazing reminder. Last question. We examined your past, the present. We'll go into the future. So let's envision an 85-year-old Carl. Who is that man? Where are you? Who you're surrounded by? What is the legacy you left in your 85 years? And then I think most importantly, what are the predominant feelings in your being?
That's a great question. I don't know why, but the first thing that came to mind was me being a trainer and still being able to do like crazy high box jumps at 85.
Okay.
Like, I love that idea. For sure, the purpose that I am here to serve is to put a huge dent in both the health and fitness industry and the personal development industry. And ideally, I don't care whether it's this or some format where taking what works inside the gym and applying it outside the gym is common practice. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
sit down with a trainer, they're going over the rep work with you. They're not
Yeah.
talking about just losing weight. They're talking about how to level up in every area of your life. Like that's what I want to see in gyms all over the globe. I would love that because my big thing, and this is a quote from Greg McEwen, who wrote the book Essentialism.
Yeah.
I remember when I read it, I got goosebumps, and I still do most of the times that I read it. Is the way that he described it is, I have a vision of starting a conversation that becomes a movement, and that's actually in here because I do have a vision of starting a conversation that becomes a movement where
Yeah.
people are taking what works inside the gym and applying it outside the gym. And then in terms of the feelings that I would want to have at 85, I would want to be like, yes, I was right. Life isn't as serious as the mind makes it out to be. I let myself have more fun. I didn't take things so seriously. And I just surrounded myself with amazing people with whom I could be love and give love.
Mm.
And I just, I want to feel proud of the person that I was. I want to feel proud of the person that I was.
Can I just invite you to close your eyes and just to go inward, go into your center and sit with that fire in your heart, that light, that spark in your heart. And next to you at that fire is that 85-year-old man. Just feel into that 85-year-old man. Be that 85-year-old man as he sits around the fire. He is surrounded by loved ones, by a community where he can fully express his love and be loved in return. He's having fun, not taking life too seriously. It has left a huge impact in the work that you've shared in those 85 years. So just sit with that 85-year-old man as that 85-year-old man. And then I'll bring you back to here and now. And that 85-year-old man, he sends you a message. He whispers something in your ear. What does he tell you?
You did it. You did it. You did it, and you got this.
Mm.
Absolutely.
That is truth. You did it. You're doing it. And it's here and now. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother. This is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
I'm really
Yeah.
glad we took the time to share this with each other and everyone
Yeah.
that's listening along. For people wanting to connect with you, they can find you on Instagram at Carl J. Berryman. And if they're in Winnipeg or stopping by, Yoga
Yeah.
Public
Come do a class.
2.0 downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.